Hi, welcome to Escape into a Cause, the podcast inspiring Central Texans to turn good intentions into impact. I'm Stephanie Dyer, a philanthropic rookie, learning how to give back with a little help from my expert friends. Together, we'll share stories of local nonprofits, explore ways to connect, and encourage everyone to step up, unplug, and make a difference. Let's dive in and escape into a cause. Hey, Court.
Hi, Steph.
Later today, we are escaping into Best Buddies Central Texas, which fosters one-on-one friendships, leadership opportunities, and inclusion for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
I love it. My daughter Charlotte's the best buddy.
She is.
Yeah, Forest Trail Elementary and Eanes ISD has a Best Buddies program. I think it's even award-winning. Yeah.
It is.
I know.
Okay, you're going to have to listen to the episode because
I'm excited.
I do mention Eanes and
good.
they won an award and you'll have to listen.
Okay,
but first, we are going to dive into the balance between self-reliance and collective responsibility. How does the individualistic mindset in America help or hinder generosity and community involvement? It's a big one. Yeah. Correct.
Hinder.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
Okay, so there is a book that I've been reading, just came out in 2024.
Tell me more.
It's really good. It's called Our Worst Strength, American Individualism and Its Hidden Discontents by James Richardson. And Richardson is an anthropologist. He found out he had Asperger's in his late 30s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's on the spectrum of autism.
Sure.
An individualistic society is already difficult as it is.
Right.
For a neurotypical mind.
Sure.
Right? He dives into what makes a hyper-individualistic society, and he breaks it down into 7 steps. And I'm going to talk about 3 of them.
Okay.
One of them is unlock the variables of lifestyle choice. Another is you make privacy sacred. And the third that I'm going to talk about is making the individual responsible for their problems.
Interesting. Okay.
And that last one really dives into community versus individualistic behaviors, which I find it interesting because making individuals accountable and held responsible for their own problems feels like it conflicts with religious teachings, which is about compassion and helping the vulnerable and grace and communal responsibility. I find it a little bit on the other side of American individualism and picking yourself up by your bootstraps. But we'll dive into that in just a second. Let's first dive into lifestyle choices. Before the 1970s, the topic just of marriage alone. We have so many more choices than ever before.
Sure.
And these pressures to live a certain life are eroding. And this is a good thing, but it also provides anxiety, right? You now are accountable for every single choice you have. Before the 1970s, you didn't really have a choice. You got married. And you got married by a certain age.
Yeah.
Post 1970s is when it became more normalized. You can get married when you're young, middle-aged, later in life.
Never?
Don't fret. Your decision of marriage is not permanent. You can now divorce.
That is correct.
You can get married again.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Many times.
Many times. And you haven't even gotten to the topic of kids. Right? So we have an unlimited swath of choices, and there's this freedom that you don't have to look back. Richardson gets into this quite a bit, is that you don't have to look back. It's always forward. That's very American. So many choices, and we're expected to own those choices. Right. And the second topic he brings up is that we conceal our problems and trauma in America. And privacy is sacred, which is a very American thing. We are told to suck it up. We are told you'll figure it out as you go.
Yep.
There's no shortage of even blaming the victim online, right?
Yeah.
You should have locked the car door. What were you thinking?
Sure.
You should have not had that drink. You should have whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We really hold people responsible even when they're the victim.
Right. Yeah.
So Richardson thinks that due to this privacy, we're taught not to allow society in, and fewer people really know us. And he believes that this is a tragic source of loneliness.
Oh, absolutely.
What I found kind of interesting is he goes into stigmatizing the busybodies, and that media vilifies the busybody. If you're a neighbor,
in everyone's business. Yes. Yeah.
Right? They're never liked. Well,
No.
do you watch Apple TV?
I do.
Okay. Did you watch Shrinking?
I've seen like 2 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only watched the first season, but Liz is the neighbor and she's the busybody.
Yes.
And she's not supposed to be likable, right? Most
Right.
people that watch her, like, she's a nosy neighbor, always overstepping boundaries.
Yeah.
The neighbor, he lost his wife and he has a daughter. Liz is married. She's not trying to have a romantic relationship with him, but she's very much getting involved, helping the daughter with her homework, helping cook, doing a lot of things that when you distance yourself, you're like, that's just a community.
You mean just helping each other out, helping a neighbor, right?
Exactly. And so Richardson goes into this about how anyone that's overstepping that genuinely cares, I didn't ask for that unsolicited advice.
Right.
If you Google unsolicited advice, it's going to be pages of therapists telling you how to get someone to no longer give you unsolicited advice. Did you watch Parks and Rec?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's the opposite. You know, April Ludgate?
Yes.
She's loved by viewers.
Loved.
And what's funny is she is emotionally distant. She mocks people for their emotions.
Yes, she does.
She does not want to actually deeply connect.
Yeah. And she's the favorite character on the show.
And she's the favorite character.
I know.
This is very American.
Yes.
I am private. I don't care about your emotions.
Right.
We need to be distant.
Yeah.
Whereas in Shrinking, the neighbor is obnoxious and all she does is cook and help and want to genuinely care about people, which is, I just find this so fascinating because it goes straight into that element, which is privacy is sacred. You're not supposed to let people in. You're supposed to solve your problems on your own. 40% of Gen X and boomers, they said that they want to solve their problems solely alone. They do not want anyone to help them.
Isn't that sad?
It is sad.
I know.
Divorce, mental illness, job loss, addiction. You're supposed to resolve that reactively after it comes to light on your own. And if you don't solve it on your own, then everyone just pushes you towards a therapist.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm not, that's not what I do. You should really talk to a therapist. I'm like, I just wanted to talk to a friend. You push them towards someone else.
And I think there's this element of what happened to community, what happened to people who cared, because Richardson talks about pre-modern society and that everyone was in each other's business.
Right.
And if someone was throwing a temper tantrum, they went up. There's Bob throwing a temper tantrum. We know how this goes.
Yeah.
And you moved on and you handled it.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting how we've evolved. And Richardson says, which I found interesting, the cruelty is that much of charity is reactive rather than preventative.
That's powerful.
So we're not guiding people while they're wandering through their life, especially early on in their age. You have to make so many choices in your life, and you are likely going to stumble and fall. Yep. How do you go ask for help when we're told that to 99% of people, we're supposed to have our best self forward?
Right.
We're not supposed to share our faults or our failures.
Be resourceful. Yeah.
Be resourceful.
Yeah.
If you have problems, keep them to yourself or go to a therapist.
Right. I know. Isn't that terrible?
It is.
I was listening to a podcast. It was Simon Sinek, and he had a death doula on his podcast. I know. I thought the same thing.
Wait, tell me.
We would think of, when we think of doula, is a person who is there at the birth of a child, right? And they help the birthing mother through the process of birth, usually not in a hospital, sometimes in a hospital, but someone who just helps with that process. Well, on the opposite side of life, there are things called death doulas or end-of-life doulas. This particular guest was fine being referenced as a death doula. And her whole discussion, Simon was like, this must be a new thing, right? These death doulas, like, I've never heard of it before. It's got to be a new occupation. And she's like, no, my profession has been around forever. It's just at some point, community started not mattering. In history, people have always been around the deathbed. People have always been with the families as death is happening, which unfortunately is going to happen to everyone. It's just a natural thing. And it was a communal event. At some point, and I think what this author's saying it too, is we've become so individualistic that the concept of someone being there and helping you through death is just completely foreign. And yet that is how it's always been. But we've turned this individualistic society, that this profession, which is now, there's so few of them, it's almost been forgotten. And she's like, and what a terrible thing, because it is a social event, right? We still have ceremonies upon death. We call those funerals traditionally. But what happens before death? And we're not just talking about hospice. I mean, these people actually get involved when someone is healthy and just helping them figure out, we have birth plans. Do you have a death plan? Like when that day comes, what do you want that to look like, right? It's really this beautiful profession. But Simon asked her, how have you chosen to live your life differently? And she said, I no longer hesitate to help people, nor do I hesitate to ask for help, because she really does see this whole communal experience of life. And there is no shame in asking for help. In fact, that makes me a better person. That offers me solutions I can't think of on my own. I can't do it by myself. I acknowledge that, and I'm humble enough to say that. And my life is better because I have chosen community as opposed to isolation. This woman has seen hundreds of thousands of people on their deathbed, and that is what she has learned from it.
What I'm thinking about when you're saying this is it goes back to privacy.
Yeah.
And asking for help.
Yeah.
So solving problems on your own. When I've had people that I care about, friends in the past, where maybe I don't know their parents, but my friend's parent is sick.
Yeah.
Or in certain situations has passed, I've had a difficult time understanding how much do I get involved? How do I show up? Right? There's this element of privacy. I don't know their parent. At the same time, I want to be supportive. And I think the American thing is to just go, I'm here if you need anything.
Yeah. Just show up.
Yes.
Or just bring dinner, ring the doorbell, give a hug. I don't want to take your time. I did want to see you. I wanted to hug you, and I'm bringing this. You didn't ask for it, but I'm here helping.
Yes.
You know?
If we're just communicative on both sides.
Yeah.
To say, hey, I'm going to just show up.
Yep.
But also on the other side, I'd like to talk to someone. I wish we were more communicative when we're in a period of hurt in our lives or we're having a problem.
Right.
Again, I think we are moving towards everyone goes to therapy, and that's great. I think therapy is wonderful.
Yes.
But can we also talk to each other? And can we talk to each other before the problem?
Right.
To go on this path alone, this journey of life is just, it's too many choices.
Yep.
The privacy is keeping everyone out. And then I have to deal with the problems by myself. It's just not productive as a society. But I love charities for children because I think you are trying to give them as much of a head start as possible.
Absolutely.
To deal with problems later in life.
Well, and I think Best Buddies does an incredible job of this because not only is it geared towards school-aged children, they are the beneficiaries. It's like the Rise School here in Austin, which is just incredible school, which has students that have no disabilities and whatsoever, and those who do have some type of disability, whether it's cognitive or physical. And they're all in class together, and they're all supported together, and they're all learning from each other. And Best Buddies is very similar to that, but it's a message of inclusion. It's a message of reaching out. It's a message of building a community within your school. It's recognizing and celebrating differences. And I think all of that at an early age, those are preventative measures, right? Those are avoiding bullying in the future. Those are hopefully avoiding a kind of stigma that might be attached to someone or to a child, to a youth, because they are different, because they grew up in a community where it was accepted and celebrated and greeted with enthusiasm and passion and love. And so I think those are those organizations that are trying to fight against the individualism and build community really early.
Completely. There's one-on-one matches and friendships. It's saying, hey, you need someone.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Courtney.
Thanks, Steph.
We'll be right back. Escape into a Cause is sponsored by Nightlight Insurance Agency. You know how a nightlight gives you comfort and peace of mind in the dark? That's exactly what Nightlight aims to do. Guide you through life's uncertainties with personalized insurance for your home, auto, business, and more. Nightlight Insurance strives to provide its clients the best coverage at the best price without sacrificing on customer service. Here's what one client had to say. Nightlight was able to lower our car insurance significantly, answered all our questions, and returned our calls promptly. Very professional, would highly recommend. So it's no surprise Nightlight has a 5-star rating on Google. Nightlight also makes this podcast possible by covering production costs so all other sponsorship dollars and gifts can go directly to nonprofits and volunteers. And as part of their mission to give back, Nightlight proudly donates $1,000 to every nonprofit we interview. If you are a sponsor interested in giving back to our podcast, please find us on social media and let us know. Nightlight is an agency focused on personalized service and giving back. See how much you could save and how good it feels to have peace of mind by visiting nightlightinsurance.com. We're here today escaping into Best Buddies, Central Texas, and we have Morgan Ilika, the area director of Central Texas, and Tasha Johnson, the Central Texas ambassador. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. I'm so excited you both are here.
Thank you for having us.
I would love to hear more about Best Buddies.
So we are part of Best Buddies International, which is a global organization dedicated to removing the social isolation of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD.
Great. I know Best Buddies International, it covers all 50 states, 46 countries, and it's making a lot of impact right here in Texas, which is fantastic. Your staff oversees Central Texas. Can you tell us a little bit about what's covered in Best Buddies Central Texas?
Absolutely. Texas, we have 3 regions of Best Buddies. We have our Houston, our North Texas, and our Central Texas. As you can imagine, it's a large geographic area. We are Waco all the way south to the border, and everywhere in between. We have 31 different chapters in 14 different cities and 9 different counties. We have about 1,500 people that are part of our programs in our region, and we're always looking to expand.
Amazing. So diving into the numbers, love to hear a little bit about the impact. I understand there's 5 mission pillars. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. With the ultimate goal of removing that social isolation that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities encounter, we actually reinforce that through our 5 mission pillars. The first one is one-to-one friendships. The second is integrated employment, leadership development, like my friend Tasha here, inclusive living, and family support. All of our programming works through the ideal of removing that isolation in a variety of different ways for whatever needs people are looking to work through, whether it's jobs, leadership development, friendship, or in Tasha's case, all 3.
Amazing. Okay, well, we're going to hear a little bit more from Tasha in a moment. So that's exciting. And I know that Best Buddies International is volunteer-led.
Correct.
And in Central Texas, I think there's 3 staff. Is that correct? So very small team with a lot of impact.
Absolutely. And it is due to the support that our volunteers offer across our region. We couldn't do it alone. And so we're incredibly grateful and thankful for those that step up and step forward every day to help us move our mission of inclusion forward.
Yeah, fantastic. Talk a little bit about the impact in numbers of volunteers.
We have, as I mentioned, about 1,500 people that are participants in our programs. And for each participant in our program, that has the ripple effect of 10 people in their sphere: teachers, siblings, parents, friends. And so if you think about the impact of those 1,500 people being amplified by 10, the impact really is significant. For each of our different programs, especially our school-based programs, which are volunteer-led, it really takes a huge number of people to impact our mission in the way that we do. So it's not just us, right? It's a community-led and community-wide implementation of our mission.
Yeah. You also mentioned 1 in 8 Texans identify as having a disability. That's a
Significant number.
It's a significant number. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's well over 10%. So making a lot of impact on those lives.
Absolutely. And the work that we do and reinforce through Best Buddies, it's not specific to any disability. In particular, it's all disabilities. So if someone identifies in any way, all of our programs reinforce support for that isolation that people tend to experience as having a disability.
We've talked in past episodes about the loneliness epidemic. I think it's really incredible that the community comes together and build those friendships and those relationships.
Well, and something to think about. I mean, I'm sure we all have experienced the feeling of not having anybody to sit with at lunch. And our programs reinforce the opportunity for people that not only may have experienced the isolation that most people encounter at some point, but is reinforced from the isolation that tends to happen for people with disabilities. And I say isolation meaning social, physical, and economic. Our programs look to reinforce removing those barriers that people experience in whatever way speaks to them.
I think a lot of people can resonate with a moment in their life where they didn't feel like they had someone to talk to.
One of our things that I think is really powerful is we truly believe that everybody belongs.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And just briefly, your primary fundraising events, touch on those for a quick minute.
Absolutely. So across the country, we do 2 signature events. So each region has them. The one that's coming up next for us is our spring event, which is our friendship walk. Since we began doing the walks, we have had close to 200,000 people participate in them across the country. And this year, they're even expanding beyond the US. So they're happening in other countries. It's a community-wide, family-friendly celebration of inclusion. And I know that you've participated as a volunteer, so thank you for that. Additionally, we do an event every year called our Champion of the Year Gala. And it's a 10-week campaign, if you will, where local leaders in our region identify as wanting to create awareness as well as raise funds to support our mission. November 13th at Distribution Hall. Yes.
Something to look forward to in the spring and closer to the holidays.
Absolutely.
Good. I would love to switch gears a little bit, and I'd love to hear a story that connects us to Best Buddies. And Tasha, did you want to tell your story?
When I was in high school, I had no friends. I was bullied all the time, and my teacher was also abusive towards me. And then when I went to finally graduated from high school, I got the courage to say, hey, I want to join an organization, and I found out about Best Buddies. And when I found out about Best Buddies, my inner spirit just opened. I can do more stuff. I can speak about my disability without being so shy. I'm going to use a quote with you today is never use the word can't with me because I will prove you wrong. I actually graduated.
Fantastic. That's
Proved
amazing.
the teachers wrong. And I came out of my shell.
I can see that. I can see that you have leadership qualities. That's incredible.
With a little bit of rock star sprinkled in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can see that too.
Yes. You should see her gala outfits.
Ooh.
Yes, girl
Okay.
brings it.
Okay.
Yes.
November 13th.
Mark your calendars.
That's incredible. How did you make that transition from feeling alone and not maybe feeling heard to feeling like you were coming into your own and being more confident in the leader that sits in front of me today?
I went up to them and said, are you willing to be my friend?
Yes.
And if they say no, then I just walk away.
Yes. And I wish more of us had the confidence to do that if we were feeling lonely or if we wanted to reach out and make new friends. That's very bold and courageous of you. And I'm very happy for you, Tasha. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And now you're actively a member. You're an officer.
I'm an officer for UT, going on 3 years, I believe. I am on the board. I am on SASB board. And I am also an ambassador.
Incredible. And I heard at the UT chapter, and I heard that they just received an award. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that award?
They got biggest college of the year.
They have the largest chapter?
Yes.
There's over 300 members in that chapter. It's really beautiful. Yes.
As a UT alum, hook 'em horns. That's fantastic. Oh, and I feel like, okay, I'm going to just brag for a minute because I feel like my association, I can brag, is that I went to UT. Fantastic. Eanes, I saw in their 2023 impact, my children are in the Eanes School District. They were the first district in the entire country to have all of their schools have a Best Buddies chapter.
Including their transitions program, which is their 18 plus program.
Incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so proud of going to UT and being in the Eanes School District. That's amazing. And you are a part of all that, Tasha. It's incredible.
And you're always welcome to any of our events.
Thank you. The friendship walk, we'll get to that momentarily, but it's a really fun thing. Thank you for sharing, Tasha. Did you have any other stories to share, or do we want to move to some brags?
We can move to some brags.
Okay. So on every show, I ask the guest to say something good about themselves that they've done, and we call it a good brag. It's something that you've done recently that you're proud of. It could be a small act of kindness. It could be something monumental. Would love to hear more people talking about the good they're doing. Tasha, did you want to share anything?
The past gala, I got donations for our auction. And
Amazing.
I did it all by myself with a little bit of help, but I contacted the people.
Amazing. Did you contact businesses or individuals?
Yes, ma'am. I did Torchies, I got gift cards from the Austin Aquarium, gift card from Blazer Tag, Amy's Ice Cream, and some people just blew me off. Said no, and I just like, okay.
The ones that you just listed all donated?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kudos to Torchy's and Amy's Ice Cream and Blazer Tag and
Austin Aquarium.
Austin Aquarium.
She did a wonderful job. And do you want to share the story about what happened when you were at Torchy's?
Oh, yes. I ran into my old elementary teacher.
Is that a good relationship?
That was the relationship that I loved. I thought she had passed away. That's what I heard. And when she walked in, I was like,
incredible. You can't see Tasha's face right now.
Yes.
She's in shock.
yeah, I was in shock when I saw her. I was like, wow,
And
amazing.
how proud she was of you.
I made her cry.
Oh, I have no doubt she was in tears.
Oh, yes.
That's very special. Teachers mean so much. The ones that spend that one-on-one time when they have a class full of students and they make each student feel so special.
The one teacher that told me that I couldn't do anything told my mom the same thing on the phone.
But this elementary teacher, she cared for you. She had compassion and a lot of love for you as a student.
Did she spark the leadership that is in you now?
Yes.
Teachers can change lives, especially with the work that they do with our chapters. Those are the advisors on campuses leading the inclusion conversation and making sure that those kiddos are being included and participating and being matched with a buddy. I know my son became part of his elementary school chapter, and he's neurotypical. But what he got from his relationship with his buddy was magic. The mutual benefit of that genuine friendship really shines. They're still friends today. They go to different schools and they're genuinely friends. It's very special.
That is special. We just spoke with Generation Serve last week, and just understanding the long-term impact when you talk about that ripple effect, the long-term impact. If you start young and you teach them compassion and caring for others, you have so many more touch points the younger you start, right? So I think it's so important to do that at school. I'm so happy you saw your teacher, Tasha. Morgan, I know that you also can brag about yourself. Let me hear it.
Oh boy. It's a typical mom brag. Our family and our neighborhood as a whole unifies around Christmas time, and we as a collective sort of adopt children for Christmas gifts. And it's really special to watch 200 neighbors come together to create a Christmas experience for some kiddos that may not have had that experience otherwise. It's very special. And every year, my kids, right after Thanksgiving, start asking, do we know who we got yet? Do we know who we got yet? And they are part of the shopping and the dropping off. And there's a whole coffee and donuts and community coming together. It's just very, very special.
Similar to your son's experience, it's not just helping those that you're helping, it really does help yourself. Community, this camaraderie, and it warms your heart.
My bucket is full.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. Okay, now that you've both bragged, how can listeners gain bragging rights with Best Buddies? Morgan, did you want to speak to that?
Absolutely. There's lots of different ways to become a volunteer. You can join our friendship program, whether it's starting a chapter at your child's school or supporting the one that's already there. Additionally, we have an adult friendship program, which is called Citizens, and that's our 18 plus friendship program that's more community based. So they wouldn't necessarily be on a school campus, but by becoming a buddy, being matched with someone through geography and shared interest. Additionally, through our employment, hosting a training perhaps at your company and through accessibility or diversity training, or hiring one of our jobs participants. Additionally, giving people like Tasha in our leadership development program an opportunity to speak, whether it's at a lunch and learn or an event you're having. So there's lots and lots of different ways based on your interests.
Those are the two ways, right, that you match. It's around geography and interest. So if I'm a listener and I'm thinking I might want to do this friendship match, and this is from, you said the ages of 5 to 95. It's all ages. And if I'm looking to be matched, I might first want to know, what is the commitment? Can you speak a little bit to that?
Absolutely. Say you were to become a citizen buddy, meaning an adult friendship. You would be matched with someone, as I said, who has a shared interest, who lives as close to you as possible. And you would have the expectation of any friendship, spending time together, texting, checking in, seeing how everybody's doing. I can give an example that on Sunday, I'm going to go do a puzzle with a buddy. In addition to that, we do monthly gatherings. So you would have the opportunity to, say, go bowling, or we've been to the Wildflower Center together before, or done a volunteer project. It's once a month. It's usually 2 hours or so on a weekend. And it's a variety of different interests and things.
So you said that's Central Texas does that. So it's a monthly where all of the matches with the best buddies can come together.
Are invited to come hang out.
Great.
Because not only are you having that one-to-one friendship, you're having that group experience as well. Tasha can speak to this too, but you become friends. She has a buddy, but you also are making buddies, right? And we do those at least once a month. Last weekend it was bowling.
Bowling. Around the holidays, we did an event for Brown Santa, and we wrapped presents for children.
Yeah. And that feels good to do things like that, right? Yeah.
Yes, and it was just seeing like everybody show up to do that just melt my heart.
You had fun too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, caution. There may be fun involved.
Yeah. You might have a good time. It's not just.
Warning.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I love that. Okay. We've gotten through how everyone can help. But the big event, of course, coming up is the Friendship Walk. April 26th, my son and I volunteered. It is at Westlake High School. Everyone that registers does a lap around the track. Tasha, did you want to speak about your experience with the Friendship Walk?
I love it. It's a lot of fun. I won an award.
What award?
Ambassador of the Year.
Incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you gave a speech. We had about 800 people in attendance. It is a community-wide event, even though it's at Westlake High School. It's open to the entire community. It's in the football stadium, so it's absolutely gorgeous. But in addition to walk, we also had games, right?
Yeah, we had
Yard
games, food, and we also got rained on.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Well, it's a really fun event. Bring the entire family, right?
Absolutely.
Find someone that maybe you can sponsor, because I know there's some fundraising involved with teams. Or you could be a corporate sponsor if you're a business. Many ways to give, or just show up. Volunteer, be a spectator, enjoy. It's a great event. Highly recommend everyone going to that. One more thing, there are still a lot of schools that don't have the Best Buddies chapter at their school. And if you're interested in this program and you're a child or you are on the administrative staff and you want to bring Best Buddies to your school.
Or a parent.
Who
could see benefit for their child or other children on their campus. You can absolutely reach out to us through bestbuddies.org/Texas, and it'll show you where we have our locations and, if interested, how to get a chapter on your campus.
Fantastic. One other thing, Texas Stars, they love giving to those that give back. So the Texas Stars Foundation has given us a few tickets. We have 4 tickets to give. And Tasha, you've had so many good things to brag about, and they want to give those tickets to you. Do you like hockey? Are you excited about going to a Texas Stars game?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about taking a friend of mine a birthday present.
That's amazing.
Don't tell, though, right?
No.
Don't tell. We're not going to say anything. We're not going to talk about it. So exciting. Thank you to Texas Stars. And Tasha, can't wait to see photos afterwards.
Of course.
Thank you guys so much. Anything else?
I would just encourage everyone who is interested to consider getting out there and being inclusive and volunteering or participating. It really does make a huge impact on the lives of others. Ultimately, we want to put ourselves out of business. We want to not have a need for programs like ours anymore. And I believe that together we can do that.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Tasha. Thank you, Morgan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Hey, listeners. Well, that was fun. Tasha was amazing. And of course, she had her baby doll, Nicholas, who, according to Tasha, loves Taylor Swift and Lilo and Stitch. I think Nicholas has great taste. And Tasha, she's beyond amazing and impressive. Ambassador of the Year. Way to go, Tasha. The loneliness epidemic affects everyone, but for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD, it's more systemic, long-term, and difficult to escape due to the structural barriers. Studies show that 1 in 5 U.S. adults, or 20%, report feeling lonely daily. That's 1 in 5 of all U.S. adults. But for young adults with developmental disabilities, the number jumps to 85%. Morgan said it perfectly. We've all felt alone at some point. Have you ever experienced a lunch alone when you wished you had a friend to talk to? I know I did. Every time I moved to a new school, I would eat my lunch alone in a corner. Have you ever been picked last? Gone weeks without anyone reaching out? Loneliness is tough, but we can change that. Best Buddies is doing just that, creating friendships, opportunities, and inclusion. You can be part of the solution. Encourage your local schools to start a Best Buddies chapter, get matched with a buddy, talk to the kids in your life about the importance of inclusion. And of course, don't miss it. The Best Buddies Friendship Walk is happening on April 26th at Westlake High School. I am so bummed out I'm going to miss it this year because I'll be out of town. But if you can, volunteer, fundraise, participate. I went last year and it was a really fun event for the entire family, and it's only one lap around the track. I know you all can do it. We'd love to hear how you're getting involved. Join the conversation on Instagram and Facebook at Escape Into a Cause. And if this episode inspired you, share it, leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and help spread the word. Got a good brag for supporting Best Buddies? Post it in our Facebook group or tag us on social. Thanks to the Texas Stars Foundation, you may even win tickets. And who does not want to win a prize for doing some good? Join us next week as we escape into ATX Kids Club, an organization sparking kids' natural curiosity through urban-based field trips that build character, self-awareness, and resilience. And of course, special thanks to Nightlight Insurance for making this podcast happen and for their donation to Best Buddies Central Texas. Huge shout out to Todd Thompson for editing and mixing, Graham Thompson and Jaden Dyer for the music, Corey McCain at Just Push Record Studios, Michelle Anderson at Pinkle Toes Photography, and Tim Nicholson for branding. See you next time as we escape into a cause.